Utility companies are indeed required to adhere to code regulations when installing parking lot lighting and other infrastructure. It is a misconception to think otherwise. Building codes and electrical codes are fundamental to ensuring the safety and functionality of electrical installations. Utility companies, like any other entity performing electrical work, must comply with these codes to maintain their operating licenses and to avoid facing potentially significant fines or penalties. These regulations cover a broad spectrum of aspects related to electrical installations. Firstly, proper wiring methods are crucial to prevent electrical hazards such as short circuits, ground faults, and fires. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides detailed guidelines on acceptable wiring practices, including conductor sizing, insulation types, and protection against physical damage. Utility companies must adhere to these guidelines to ensure the electrical system is safe and reliable. Secondly, grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source, allowing overcurrent protective devices to operate and clear the fault. Bonding ensures that all metallic parts of an electrical system are at the same potential, minimizing the risk of electric shock. The NEC specifies requirements for grounding and bonding, which utility companies must follow to protect people and equipment from electrical hazards. Thirdly, overcurrent protection is necessary to protect electrical circuits and equipment from damage caused by excessive current. Overcurrent protective devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to interrupt the flow of current when it exceeds a predetermined level. The NEC specifies the types and sizes of overcurrent protective devices that must be used in various applications. Utility companies must comply with these requirements to ensure that electrical systems are adequately protected against overloads and short circuits. Fourthly, proper installation techniques are important for ensuring the long-term reliability and safety of electrical installations. The NEC provides guidance on proper installation techniques for various types of electrical equipment, including wiring, conduit, and enclosures. Utility companies must follow these guidelines to ensure that electrical systems are installed correctly and will operate safely for their intended lifespan. Fifthly, electrical inspections are conducted to verify that electrical installations comply with applicable codes and standards. Electrical inspectors review plans and inspect electrical work to ensure that it meets the requirements of the NEC and other relevant regulations. Utility companies are subject to electrical inspections, just like any other entity performing electrical work. These inspections help to identify potential hazards and ensure that electrical systems are installed safely and correctly. It's important to understand that the specific codes and regulations that apply to utility companies may vary depending on the jurisdiction. However, in general, utility companies are required to comply with the NEC as well as any state or local electrical codes that are in effect. The NEC is a comprehensive set of standards that covers virtually every aspect of electrical installations. It is updated every 3 years to reflect the latest advances in electrical technology and safety practices. State and local electrical codes may adopt the NEC in whole or in part, or they may include additional requirements that are specific to the jurisdiction. To ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations, utility companies typically employ qualified electrical engineers, electricians, and inspectors. These professionals are responsible for designing, installing, and inspecting electrical systems to ensure that they meet all safety and performance requirements. They also stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC and other relevant codes and regulations. Furthermore, utility companies often have their own internal standards and procedures that go above and beyond the minimum requirements of the NEC. These standards and procedures are designed to ensure that electrical systems are installed to the highest possible standards of safety and reliability. For example, a utility company might require that all electrical connections be made using a specific type of connector, or that all wiring be installed in conduit, even if the NEC does not require it. It is also worth noting that utility companies are subject to oversight by various regulatory agencies. These agencies are responsible for ensuring that utility companies operate safely and reliably, and that they comply with all applicable laws and regulations. If a utility company is found to be in violation of any code or regulation, it can face significant penalties, including fines, sanctions, and even the revocation of its operating license. Therefore, it is in the best interest of utility companies to comply with all applicable codes and regulations. In the specific case of parking lot lighting, utility companies are required to comply with all relevant codes and regulations, just like any other entity installing such lighting. These regulations cover a wide range of aspects, including the height and spacing of the light poles, the type and wattage of the lamps, and the wiring and grounding of the electrical system. Utility companies must also ensure that the lighting is designed and installed in a way that minimizes glare and light pollution. Glare can be a safety hazard, especially for drivers, while light pollution can have negative impacts on the environment. The design and installation of parking lot lighting must also take into account the specific characteristics of the site, such as the size and shape of the parking lot, the surrounding land uses, and the presence of any trees or other obstructions. Utility companies typically use specialized software to design parking lot lighting systems that meet all applicable codes and regulations, and that provide adequate illumination for the intended use. In addition to complying with codes and regulations, utility companies also have a responsibility to maintain their electrical systems in good working order. This includes regularly inspecting and testing the electrical equipment and repairing or replacing any equipment that is found to be defective or unsafe. Utility companies also have a responsibility to respond promptly to any reports of electrical hazards, such as downed power lines or damaged electrical equipment. In summary, utility companies are indeed required to adhere to code regulations when installing parking lot lighting and other infrastructure. These regulations are in place to ensure the safety and functionality of electrical installations, and utility companies must comply with them to maintain their licenses and avoid fines or penalties. The specific codes and regulations that apply may vary depending on the jurisdiction, but in general, utility companies are required to comply with the National Electrical Code, as well as any state or local electrical codes that are in effect. Utility companies typically employ qualified professionals to design, install, and inspect electrical systems to ensure that they meet all safety and performance requirements. They also have their own internal standards and procedures that go above and beyond the minimum requirements of the NEC. Furthermore, utility companies are subject to oversight by various regulatory agencies, which ensure that they operate safely and reliably, and that they comply with all applicable laws and regulations.